From AccuWeather.com, this is AccuWeather Daily, a brief host-read article. It's weather news in a nutshell. Well, AccuWeather's team of meteorologists and hurricane experts have changed the Atlantic hurricane forecast a little bit as the peak of the hurricane season approaches. And the big reason for that is El Nino, which is poised to become one of the strongest in history, a major factor expected to limit tropical activity through the rest of the Atlantic hurricane season. AccuWeather now forecasts 8 to 11 named storms, 3 to 4 hurricanes, and 1 to 2 major hurricanes during this year's Atlantic hurricane season. This is lower than the initial forecast issued in March, which called for 11 to 16 named storms. Despite the lower seasonal forecast, the expected number of direct U.S. impacts remains unchanged at 3 to 5. AccuWeather lead hurricane expert Alex De Silva said that the reason for this reassessment is the increasing chances of a record-strong Super El Nino developing. Even though El Nino is a phenomenon in the Pacific Ocean, it has a ripple effect on weather patterns around the world. During the Atlantic hurricane season, El Nino promotes more disruptive winds, known as wind shear, over parts of the basin. Frequent episodes of disruptive wind shear can make it harder for storms to develop and strengthen. De Silva said that gives his team greater confidence in lowering the total number of named storms, but it does not eliminate the risk of a damaging hurricane strike in the U.S., because it only takes one to define a hurricane season. So far this year, 3 tropical storms have formed in the Atlantic basin. Arthur and Bertha both made landfall along the Gulf Coast, while Cristobal was short-lived over the open Atlantic. The season is running behind several historical benchmarks. On average, the first Atlantic hurricane develops by August 11th, and the 4th named storm forms by the 15th. The average date for the season's first major hurricane is September 1st. By comparison, the 2025 season had already produced 5 named storms by August 19th, including Category 5 Hurricane Erin. The potential milestone follows an unusual 2025 Atlantic hurricane season when several powerful storms developed, but no hurricanes made landfall in the U.S. 2 of the previous multi-year stretches without a continental U.S. hurricane landfall have occurred since the turn of the century. 2000 and 2001, and then again in 2009 and 2010. The longest stretch in the historical record lasted 3 consecutive years, from 1862 through 1864. AccuWeather hurricane experts have very high confidence that Super El Nino conditions will develop during the second half of the hurricane season. It is becoming increasingly likely to be the strongest El Nino on record since at least 1950. De Silva added that while those atmospheric conditions can reduce the overall number of tropical storms and hurricanes, they do not eliminate the threat to the U.S. Exceptionally warm waters near parts of the U.S. coastline can provide fuel for tropical systems that develop close to land, raising concerns about rapid intensification and leaving folks and businesses with less time to prepare. Residents along the Gulf and Atlantic coasts should remain vigilant because more storms could still directly impact the U.S. this season. The northern and eastern Gulf Coast and the Carolinas are areas at higher than historical average risk of direct impacts this season. The northeastern Caribbean is also at increased risk. The total number of storms in a season does not determine how destructive or costly that season will be. De Silva said the 1992 Atlantic hurricane season is one of the most dramatic examples of that. Only 7 named storms developed in 1992, but Hurricane Andrew became a Category 5 and devastated South Florida. The climatological peak of the Atlantic hurricane season is around September 10th, with tropical development and U.S. impacts possible well into the fall. Some of the most destructive hurricanes in recent history have struck after the climatological peak of the season. Hurricane Helene made landfall in Florida's Big Bend as a Category 4 hurricane on September 26, 2024, causing catastrophic flooding and devastation across parts of the southeast and southern Appalachians. Less than 2 weeks later, Hurricane Milton made landfall near Siesta Key, Florida, as a Category 3 hurricane on October 9th. That's all for now. You can find regional forecasts and science-based articles at AccuWeather.com, and you can stay weather aware with the free AccuWeather app. Enjoy the rest of your day. Be safe. I'll be back tomorrow with more from AccuWeather.